All right, let's have a look. So we're pretty much welcome to the UK session, or London session. First one again. So we did the Asian earlier today. We're going to do obviously the UK pair now. So we'll be focusing on mainly UK pairs. I got GBP JPY pulled up here first. We need to keep in mind that there is a the NFP coming later today during the US session, so we need to keep that in mind. So markets could be a bit different, unsettled before that. So just need to definitely keep that in mind. What we currently have here, I saw this sort of resistance that we kind of went into, and then now it's starting to sort of break out a bit. We saw a nice clean break, and now it's starting to see a retest. So this could be a pre-session move. I'm looking for a potential push up to that top over there, or well, resistance, not completely there. I wouldn't go all the way to the top. I've kind of got my resistance coming up here to play safe. Now this is the 15-minute time frame, so let's have a look at the 30-minute. 30-minute looks good as well. Just no wick on that candle, so that's the one thing we need to keep in mind of, is just to keep, there's no momentum for the market to move. So every time we see small wicks, we tend to see the market being reversed on the area. So just need to keep that in mind. Once the volume generally does, however, start kicking in UK session, there's not a lot of time to think. So we do need to act quite quickly. We'll have a look at the other pairs, GBP USD as well. It looks pretty good. We're sitting at this sort of resistance, well, support at this moment. If we do look over previous history, we are sitting close to a overall support, so that could be a bit of an issue if we do decide to break to the downside. Don't think we have a lot of space to go into. So this will probably be the area that we're looking to push. So you can see not a lot of space. So ideally we want to break below that, and then obviously you can see we don't have much traffic to the left pushing further below that. So that could be a good option if it does break below. If not, we are currently stuck in this sort of consolidation over here. So ideally I want to see a break above, then we could look to potentially push further higher. However, there's a lot of momentum. So we just need to need to keep that in mind. Moving on, we will have a look here at let's have a look at USD CAD. USD CAD probably won't move anything now until US session. So let's have a look at gold. Just clear all this. So this was earlier. This is during the Asian session. We were looking at some moves. We were looking to push the downside, but we didn't really get a confirmation of it happening. It just kind of, we had this big wick over here. So let's quickly draw this. We had this big wick over here, and then this kind of just dropped to the downside. Not really any warning. This was a bit of a rejection, but I wasn't really too keen on it because of that wick, and then we ended up pushing further lower, and we ended up hitting the target, but obviously I didn't take any trades because of that. Currently what we're looking for now is we are looking for this sort of push to the upside. Hopefully we can get a break, but we do need to keep this resistance coming in mind. Hopefully we can break past it and push up to this one. Now, during the Asian session, we did take some nice trades. So we took a trade on CAD JPY, I believe. We did take, so CAD JPY, we took the downside. It was a bit of an interesting one. We mainly followed it on the 15-minute time frame. So if we have a look here, so we kind of quickly just break it down, run through it quickly. So we were looking at this obviously as consolidation. We sort of had a break to the top, but no wick really, and then we started pushing back down. And then we kind of had this area over here. So once we broke this area with this candle up over here, I kind of waited for a bit of a retest. This candle gave it to us. I took the entry, and then this thing started to slow down. So my entry was roughly right about here. Stop loss just above over here. And as it started to push down, I moved my stop loss to that wick. Then when this kind of hesitation happened, I kind of closed my position over here. This was my overall stop loss. So I closed my position up over there just because I didn't quite like these wicks. I was rejecting quite a lot. And if we look to the left, that is kind of where a wick was previously. So that kind of did give a bit of an issue for me. However, obviously after I closed my trade, the market decided to drop and did end up reaching the overall target for those who did stay on and didn't close their position. We then hit this sort of multiple bottom, started pushing back up again, and now we broke this top. Probably won't be looking to trade any of this CAD JPY because obviously US market, Canadian market's closed, Asian market's starting to come to a close. So if we have a look at so currently for me it is 12 past 8. So I'll just have a look at the markets. So Asian market should just be coming to a close soon. Um, so Asian market will be coming to a close in about an hour and 42 minutes. That's just like an hour into the London session. We'll see the Asian close. We could potentially see some movements on there, but once that market's closed, I don't think we won't see much movement. And up until then, I don't think we'll see much here either. So we'll stick to our GBP pairs or European pairs. We might look a bit at Euro JPY as well, but it looks pretty similar to CAD JPY. We see sort of that big push and now it's starting to create these wicks. So if we go back to CAD JPY, we see it looks fairly similar in structure. This one leg to the upside. US 30 moves quite well as well during the UK session. So let's quickly have a look here. Go to our 30 minutes. So we kind of have a bit of a consolidation zone here. I'll get rid of all these drawings I had previously. So you can see we do have these wicks up over here. So this is really the zone we want to break for this market to push down. I'm not really keen on trading anything below, like above that, and obviously anything above this sort of this zone. Really, I don't really want to be touching anything above the zone until we break past one of these areas. Then we can start looking for trades. But at the moment, charts that look good. Gold looks okay. I quite like it actually. And we'll just get rid of this so we can get rid of the clutter. Cool. So we got consolidation for gold. We have an internal support / resistance area that we're seeing as being struck. So this could be a good indication for the market to look to. If it can stay in here and start consolidating between these two zones, that could be a good little shout. Because if it does break above this area, the only one we need to keep in mind is this one, which could cause a bit of issues. But if we look at the hourly time frame, we can see if we do close above, let's have a look. So if we close above this right here, let's get this one moving. So if we can close above the zone, I think on the hourly time frame, it should be safe to start looking to go to the upside. So let's have a look at it. 30 minute. We can see it sort of just below this area where it did a bit of a hiccup. So we'll see what happens. If we can get a close above it, we could look for potential moves further higher. This structure over here looks really good to the upside. We have the push past this internal resistance, then turn to support, and now we're having a nice big green candle to the upside. So if it does close nice and bullish, ideally we want to close above there. If it closes below, we'll obviously have to wait for the next candle to open into the zone and then wait for a retest to look to go in for the market. So gold looks good. I quite like gold. We'll look at GBP USD. Obviously nothing until we break out of these zones. So if we can get pushed to the upside above this resistance, I've got it here. You guys can see 139, about 13900. Nice psychological level. 139, 139.060, I would say. So if we can get a break above there, I don't really want this market to go down. If it goes down, I won't be looking to take any trades. If it does go to the upside, I will potentially look at some entries. Target-wise, we've got our first sort of target coming up. With this wickers, we can see some support resistance around this area. So that's kind of a first target for us to look into. Hopefully we can break above with the strength of UK. I would be obviously NFP will make the markets a bit anxious, so we need to wait for that. But this could be our second target if we do break past. So we'll manage a trade as we go, and we'll kind of feel how the trade moves. If it gives a nice strong blast all the way up, closes above here, awesome. If it kind of hesitates and starts to get stuck around here, then different story. If it blasts up like in the first minute and starts, like, we need to be careful about that, because if it just shoots up, high potential is that tends to come down. So the market and generally just starts shooting up as soon as it opens, it tends to come down. You'll see that quite often. So generally what happens, the market opens and it goes in with a steady pace. We see a steady pace push. We might see a push every now and then, but most of the time, if the market continues, we'll see it happen at a steady pace. So quick movements to a target, we'll have to close that straight away, because we'll probably get a pullback and just create a massive wick. If it does steadily grow up there, we can manage stop losses and everything, and look for partial closes. But if it kind of struggles to get there, if we see it like struggling here and then kind of struggling like around this area, then at the last, let's say 20 seconds, it pushes up and closes, that could be an issue as well, because then it means that it just reached that resistance, and now it's probably going to start pushing back down. So those are kind of three options we want to look for if the market closes. So slow build, like steady and slow, is what we're looking for ideally in the market when we take a trade. We don't want any quick movements, any impulsive movements in the market. That's always dangerous. Then we need to cut, take the win right there when it reaches our first target straight away. And then obviously, if we have this really struggling market, and then all of a sudden, last couple of seconds or minute, whatever, it pushes and reaches the target, that could be an issue as well. So let's have a look. I mean, the last option could be okay, because if it struggles to reach it, it could potentially just hinder around there and then start to push. But I mean, we never really know. So I mean, what we could potentially do when that happens, when it struggles and reaches, we could look to take half up profits, close half up position, move our stop loss to break even, and then let the rest of the trade run to the next target. And then obviously overall target will be up here, but it's very unlikely that I would fill this. I mean, it could, but you always want to put the odds in our favor. And I mean, it's just below 1.4, massive psychological level. So we just need to keep that in mind. GJ looks good. See, it still looks good with this rejection. I really like this rejection. We don't really have a lot of movements, because if we look to take a trade, our risk reward is not that great. Let's drop down to about 15 minutes and have a look. It still looks pretty good. I'm not really a big fan of this candle that closed red. I would have preferred to close green, but we'll see what happens. We could actually potentially look at taking a smaller trade in there. Have a quick trade before the session even begins. Okay, so 5 minutes. We've got 30 seconds for this candle to close. We want this candle to close above the zone, and that should be a good entry. As soon as it closes above here, we can take the. I would take this trade. I'll take a small little trade to push for the higher. That'll be ideal. But if it closes in here, chances are I'll just continue to consolidate, and it'll just be a frustration. So I want this close above the zone. Put my stop loss just below that candle, and then look to push to trade further. Yeah, see, so it closed below here. No, I won't go take the trade. I'll wait for the next candle. If anything happens, I don't think this kind of invalidated this whole trade just now. So if we do get a break, I want this. Either two things can happen now, or three things. We can see consolidation in here. We can see this next candle just blast up and do what we thought it was going to do. But obviously we had no confirmation or what it can do, which is a little bit more unlikely. But if it does happen, it'll be ideal. We could see it close above. So I'll quickly draw that for you guys so you can have a bit of a better idea. So I want this candle. We can have two things, right? Like I said, like it's doing now, consolidate. We can have it push just all the way up, and that's it. Or we can have a move like this. Ideally like this. Then we have the next candle create a wick to the downside into the zone, start pushing up. So that's that'll be the ideal situation, okay? But we'll have to see what this next candle does. Let's have a look at we're about 10 minutes away from the half an hour close. So I mean, I think now it's pretty unlikely for this to push any higher. So apparently something just happened to gold. No, nothing. Oh, don't know. Yeah, so sorry guys. So what I'm getting now is just getting some messages there in the group chat that I have. So if you guys want to give that join that, reach out. I'm working on some stuff, some mentoring stuff. So definitely reach out if you guys are interested. Obviously, if you don't, feel free to keep watching the live streams. I mean, it's free education. If you guys want to continue on with us, you definitely can ask questions on here. Even if you just watch the recordings afterwards, I'll leave them on YouTube. They'll be there forever. So it's obviously, that's free. But yeah. Oh, okay. They're looking at the 5 minute. See, this is stretching out, man. I'll stick to my 30 minutes. Cool. So we say, was it GJ we said look good? Yes. Okay. Now, see, this is the consolidation. This is why we wait for that candle confirmation to close. See, no candle confirmation, and now it's starting to push back. So obviously, like I said, we're most likely can expect consolidation of the zone until further notice. So yeah, GBCAD. This looks pretty good. Actually looks quite nice. I reckon if we can break above this area with this next candle, we can get a close above here, which is, I mean, it's in the next minute. Okay, this is a 5-minute time frame. My mistake. Let's have a look. Still looks pretty good, actually. I'm not going to lie to you. This big wick looks really good. If this candle can close, still close above that zone, we could look for potential moves further higher. It actually looks really good. But again, if it closes in here, I wouldn't really touch it. It's just kind of stuck in that consolidation. So let's have a look at the 15-minute time frame. Nice little, sort of almost a fake out. We saw this big drop and then push back up again. Yeah, I think probably we'll see. So we're looking for either a break of the zone over here, and a break of this area, and a close. Not just a break, but a break and a close. Cool. Now, the one thing I'm a little bit scared of is this resistance coming up. It is very compact in here, so there's not a lot of movement space. So I think if we do push up, we're going to have a very small stop loss. Now, that comes a bit with an issue because this previous candle is quite large, and I don't really want to trade on Friday. I don't want to trade on the lower term time frames because it's just market. You know, the lower your time frames go, the less quality your trades go. So lower time frames, lower quality trades. Okay, let's have a look. We'll stick to our 30-minute for now. So I don't think we could see some good moves in this. But again, you know, we have to break above these zones. That's always for me. You know, I always want to see a break above these zones. So let's get our charts laid out for today. The charts that are looking favorable. Obviously, we said gold. We're looking at, let's have a look at GU. GU, not really. If it breaks to the downside, I don't want to touch it, like I said. GJ, this could work out pretty well. As we follow, I'll explain what I'm talking about. So GJ, GP, JPY looks good as well. And GBP CAD, not a big fan. Let's have a look at Euro JPY. I mean, the move's already missed, I reckon. We hit the support, so big wick to the upside. I don't think we'll see much. And US 30 was the other one. US 30, nothing really so far. Obviously, just risen. So pretty much got gold and GBP JPY. GBP JPY, I think, is probably my most favorable one at the moment, depending on how this candle closes. So we'll need to wait and see how this candle closes. So kind of what I want to see now is we're trying to see this sort of candle push up. We saw what we're looking for. If this candle matches it partner to the upside, we could see something quite interesting. So I'll quickly take you guys through it, show you what I'm talking about. So next, for example, we kind of have this up movement. We can kind of forget about this really, actually depending on where this goes. So I'll draw this section out for you. So we've got push to the upside, another push to the upside, which is a little bit smaller. We have that wick coming about halfway down, and we've got this nice big red candle. And another one. And then we start to see, we see this smooth to the upside. So now we have this push up that overtook this one, went about halfway just below the support of this previous candle. Then we saw the next one open up, had a big wick to the upside, closed just about halfway through. Broke that high. And then we have this big candle that pushed the upside. Oops. So interesting thing about that is there's no wick, so there's no momentum for the market to push into. And then we saw this big wick. So now what we're seeing is we're seeing this next candle starting to match it. We've got 38 seconds, so I'm expecting it to look pretty similar to this green candle. So we'll see something along the lines of this. We'll see it match. That one obviously has got a bit of a wick on the top, so we'll see it match. So this is kind of what we'll see when the candle closes. Now, there are two options what I'm looking for in this trade. Now, we know that we do have this resistance inside over here, slight resistance from that candle. So we see that over there. So what I'm expecting to see is, let me draw that. I'll draw this resistance here as well. Okay, so we've got this sort of resistance in here. Okay, just to give you guys that kind of visualized idea. Now, what we're looking for are two things. Well, three things. Two options to the upside and one option to the downside. Now, the option to the downside is obviously it goes to the downside. You know, it goes into consolidation, which won't be ideal. What we're going to see, what we'll see is something will push up to this area, and then we'll push down, probably back into this consolidation zone. I'm not sure how far down. It could go all the way to the bottom. So we could see something like that, right? So that could be the option one. Just the downside. Now, to the upside, what we'd ideally like to see, if we want to go to the upside, what we're going to see is, I want to see a candle close above halfway, also keeping in mind this top over here, closing above the area. We'll most likely obviously see a bit of a wick to the downside, depending on, you know, how deep it goes. And hopefully we'll see not a big, but a sort of a small wick to the upside. Now, this gives a good indication the market's ready to continue upwards. What we'll see then is we'll see a push to the downside, a touch of the wick, and we'll see that wick kind of close. I would say, you know, looking at the support over here, it could happen there, and then we'll see something like this. Okay. Now, if we took this trade and this candle does, okay, I wouldn't really look to take the trade down here. I would look to take the trade up here. So if it closes up here, that's when I look to take the trade. So that's our first entry. That's the option number one. We'll get a retest of the zone, hopefully halfway into this candle, and then push for the higher. And this is kind of the structure that we'll see. Right. So this is option two. Now option one to the upside. So option one to the upside is this one. If you want to take a screenshot, feel free to do so, and we can see it unfurl. Now, if we go back. Now the next candle, which hopefully won't waste our time. I've been seeing them a bit less in the market, but they still happen. We do see this candle push all the way up, match it, and close above here. Excuse me. Now that is a nice candle to see. Okay, this is nice because now what that means is it was just a bit of this red candle was just a bit of a retest. It'll break past, and now hopefully the next candle will come retest down into the zone and push up further higher. Okay, so this is what we want to see for the next two structures. So the next two. So this is option number 3 and option number 2 to the upside. So this is exactly, if I don't see this in the market, if I don't see this happen in the market, obviously no trades. So this is what we want to see, okay? In this next setup. Okay, so let's have a look at the hourly as well to see how that goes. Okay, so looks pretty similar. Obviously, hourly is doing what it's doing in the 30 minutes. So if we look at the 30 minute, that's what happened previously. We saw the same sort of structure, but now we're just seeing on the hourly time frame. Now the hourly, if this candle kind of gives us a good indication, or kind of gives us a good hope that the candle won't drop further because it's sitting at that support. So if it does close here, we could be pretty confident with the market to push further higher. However, if this candle does close, we need to wait a bit longer because then we could be adding like a doji inside of this structure, this 30-minute structure. So what I mean by a dojis are fine. If the candle is like a really flat doji, like something similar to this, it kind of stops, well, invalidates the pattern we see it here as well. So what I mean by invalidate, what we'll see, or what we could see, is we could see this candle structure sort of happen. Like we have this little green candle with its wick, for example, and that'll kind of make the structure, or that candle will make it invalid, right? It'll kind of take away its purpose, almost. It just puts like a space button almost. And then what we'll see is then from then on, once that candle is closed, it just means we have to wait a bit longer. So once that candle is closed, we can go back to option 1, 2, and 3. So obviously option to the downside, but I'm just going to do the option. So now obviously after that, we want to see the option to the upside. So option 1, wick to the downside, then close above the area, and then to continue further higher. So option 1, obviously, to the upside, and then obviously option 2 as well. That should work fine. So hopefully we can get that either to, I mean, if it closes on doji, that's fine, because it just means we just wait longer, which is what makes you money in this game, right? It's just patient, it's just waiting. So we'll see how this unfolds. But I'll definitely take a trade if one of these patterns unfold. But except if it comes down, I don't want to take it if it drops down. It's not ideal. But we'll flick between this. At this stage, it does look like it's going to continue to the downside. Let's have a look at gold. So yeah, definitely, there it goes. Now we'll see. Obviously, this candle's still got 25 minutes to close, but it is going at a nice steady pace, which means it could continue down. Gold's still stuck in consolidation. This candle did unfortunately close below that zone. So now we want to break again. We want to break in the zone to push for the higher. Yeah, I wanted to break that high before we see anything. That resistance. It's also unfortunately a shame that I can't play any music on this because YouTube will flag my account for copyright. So I'll figure something out. Obviously, as more people start watching and more people start joining, we'll probably see, we'll see some more interaction and more people start to talk. And yeah. Okay, we'll just flick between these now, actually, because there's not really anything else to look at. Yeah, so that's completely dropped down. Now what we want to see is I want to see a break of this area. We could potentially look to push further lower, but we do obviously have the support coming up. So there are a lot of supports coming up to the downside. So ideally, I still want this to push the upside. There's nothing really I want to trade to the downside. And like I said, it's NFP, so if we don't take any trades, all good. We had a good week. But yeah, so we'll see. Right, that's pushing down quite strongly. Okay, so this could be nice if it starts to push up and we get it close above. Obviously, our pattern's still valid. It's still valid. So if it's doji or close above the zone, those are the things we're looking for. It's nice that it pushed down so quickly. Now it's starting to pull back. So hopefully we can get something. Obviously, if you do happen to watch this video, please do give a like. It does help. Click that like and subscribe button. Definitely share with people who are also interested in trading. Obviously, it's all done for free. So I'm just here to help out. So definitely give that like button a hit, or dislike button a hit if you don't like it. But yeah, definitely give us a share, and we'll help out quite a lot. Nice. So it's pushing. That means this goal will probably be pushing down. Okay, GJ pushing up. Nice. Okay, so let's have a look at GVCAD as well. So we had that break below, but nothing really spectacular. I don't like this move. This is So this is what happens when the move pushes down quickly in the market, and then obviously it starts to pull back. So this is why we always have to be careful of these kind of things. Cool. I think we'll just watch GJ now until we get our move. So I'll just stick to this until we see something. Ooh, okay, well, still kind of hovering about. Close here or close high above green will be fine. If we close like in the middle here, it could be a bit of a nuisance. But two options: up high, above resistance, or stop on here and look for a next move to go up higher. Usually, what I see when this happens, if this cannot close where it is, we'll usually see the other option I drew. So this is what we tend to see as the candle pushes up to this area. That's usually the most common that I see in this sort of pattern when we see this form as a doji, like a dragonfly doji or something, and then we'll see hopefully a push further higher. Thanks a lot, guys. Yeah, but definitely I'm not sure who's watching, but if you have any questions, definitely pop them through. I'll be happy to answer them. No, like I said, it's a bit quiet today. Obviously, there's not much activity. As we grow, it'll get more interesting as people start asking more questions. So definitely, but yeah, thanks for that. Like, I'm not sure who it is, but thanks for that. So let's have a look here at this, see where we're sitting at. So you can see London market should be opening in about 10 minutes. Cool. Just kind of doing what we wanted to do now. That's nice. Starting to push up. We've got 10 minutes to close in this candle. So hopefully we can close a bit higher. I wanted to close a bit higher. Ideally, it's just, you can see the spreads are sort of jumping around. We'll see what happens. We got. Let's have a look at. I just want to, out of curiosity, let's drop that to this 15-minute candle. See what that looks like. Cool. 15-minute candles are rejecting, and obviously the lowest one will go to its 5 minutes, which looks good. We're starting to see some turnaround in here. Nothing yet to. I'm not going to take a trade based on 5 minute or the 15-minute. Sometimes I'll take a trade based on 15-minute, but I have to be very certain. That's usually for 15-minute entries. It's just more like to make my entry a bit tighter and a bit more accurate. That's not to look for an excuse to enter a trade. So all my trades are based on my higher term time frames. And then looking for better, tighter entry. So whilst I said, okay, cool, I want to enter this market right now, I'll go on my lower term time frame, maybe like my 15-minute. I never really go on my 5 minute, but 15-minute time frame. Might drop down to that to see if I can enter better. Cool. So just still kind of sitting there. Bit of a nuisance. So it's pushing up nicely now. Now it's time to see that push. Last couple of minutes, we've seen it about 4 minutes left of the 30-minute candle. So if we get a close, hopefully we get a close above here, it should play out exactly the way we want it to, which would be really nice. And then we can look to start to take that trade. Now, if we close above here, obviously we want to wait for that next candle to push higher and close above. Depending on how this one closes, I might actually look to take a bit of an early entry. I'll look to go on my 50-minute and see if there's anything. Maybe not. We'll wait for that candle to break above. So we'll look for this candle to break above the zone, the next one, and then once it closes above here, we could look for a nice entry. Hopefully, our risk-reward ratio will be a bit of a pain. Depending on where this candle closes, obviously, if this candle closes up here, that's ideal. Because if it closes up here, obviously, that's a sell. We could look for, we could have a tighter stop loss. So the closer this candle closes to this up area, almost the better for us, right? Because if we close up over here, we could look to have our stop loss, about here, and then down here is our take profit. So it's about a 1.5 to like 1-to-1 risk reward ratio. Not great, but we can manage our trade as we go. Now, obviously, once this starts to drop, depending on where this next one is, we're going to want to enter it. So, obviously, well, we're going to enter on that close of the candle up over there. So, depending on where this one closes, it will give us our stop loss area. Sorry, my mistake. So we want that next candle to close above this area, and this one to close up high on here, as close to the top as we possibly can, because that will depend on where our stop loss will go, and that also depends on our risk reward ratio. If it closes up here, if it rejects, then obviously we can just expect some further consolidation inside the zone. I'll get rid of this as well. But yeah, if it closes in there, this is sort of the zone we'll be stuck in until we break out. So we really want to come break past here, close above, and then look for the next candle to close to go further higher. Okay, so candle closed and didn't quite close. We wanted it to, so close below that zone. So obviously we can expect consolidation. Nothing really. Let's have a look at other pairs now. In that case, then gold. Not that great. If we can get this candle to close above, we'll have the same situation we had. We're looking for what we were looking for on GBP/JPY. We want that to close above. So we can see a sort of similar structure. We've got the push through, the push down, and hopefully the push we can get above this area over here. So let's see. We can pretty much take GBP/JPY off our books now. Let's have a look at US 30. 30-minute. 30-minute candle. So we can see here, sort of similar structure. We've got the push through, the push down, and hopefully the push we can get above this area over here. So let's see. We can pretty much take GBP/JPY off our books now. Let's have a look at US 30. nothing really. Mm. All right, well, let's keep looking through. I don't think there will be much today. Let's have a look. So UK session opened now. We haven't really seen much movement, so we'll stick around for about an hour or so and see if we get anything an hour into the session. Usually we'll go about 2 hours into the session. If nothing happens, then that's a shame. But like I said, Friday news coming up. So let's have a look at our calendar. We can see what's happening. Nothing for UK news, so market generally quite quiet. Let's have a look so we can see Halifax. Okay, Halifax is interesting. Sorry if you guys don't know about Halifax. Have a look at them. They did go under a while back, took all their clients' money with them, big lawsuits and everything. So, pretty interesting story. And then Italian retail sales. Obviously, all these are very low impact. And then we're going to have this US news at 2:30, and then we see the US market will open. So this is 2:30 a.m. my time. Right, so the US market opens at 3. So it's interesting. Is it? Let's have a look. My time, it'll open up at 2 o'clock. So 2 o'clock my time, it'll open up 2 in the morning, and then we'll have an hour or so, and then we'll have this news, this this NFP. So I think we probably won't see any movement. A lot of movements have already been priced in on gold. We saw that big drop coming during yesterday's session and consolidated pretty much the whole Asian. Well, did consolidate the whole Asian, and looks like it'll probably consolidate into the UK session as well. And then we'll hopefully see some movements during NFP. So I think gold will just stick between here until we see it break out during the NFP session. And I think similar for US30 as well. So also consolidating. So GPJPY, you can see good thing we did not take that trade, and we always follow our. See it starting to come back down. So I think everything really will consolidate until we see, until until further notice, So I think end of the week we won't really see much happening. Yeah, yeah, we'll see. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, so rejecting nothing much. Gold. Same thing now, pushing down. CAD. Yeah, we're not going to try everything. Everything looks the same. Euro JPY. It loads. Cool. Yeah, it looks even worse. Okay, so nothing on Euro JPY, GBP CAD also looks a bit terrible. GBP JPY, everything's stuck in consolidation. So I don't think we'll see any movement, to be honest. This GBP USD drop below the area now. So this is kind of what I said I don't really want to trade into, but now that we've broken below the zone, we can see we've got a clear zone. So okay, so we were talking about this. I was talking about this earlier. This is nice. So now we've finally broken below this area. We can start looking for retests. Looks like the most unlikely pair that I don't think was going to move ended up being the one that's going to move. So let's have a look and see what we can get. Okay, so broke below support, had a retest, and now we're sitting over here. So let's have a look. What we're looking for is a push as this candle closed, and then we can look for a push to go up higher. If we close into this wick, not ideal, but if we can close here and look for a retest, we could look for a move to go down. Now target to go down. Let's have a look at our higher term time frames. Look at the hourly first. Zoom out a bit. Obviously, we can see there's nothing on the hourly. Let's have a look at the 4-hourly to see if we can find anything. 4-hourly looks okay. So this is the reason for ejection. All right. So here we go. So this is what we want to see. Okay, this is what we want to see break. Okay. This area. I'll drop this one down a bit further. If we can break below this area and close below it, we have a clean move to the downside. I might actually look to potentially get in earlier if we let's have a look at 30-minute time frame. So let's hope we don't consolidate any. This could be a good move, could be a bit of a risky one, but it is UK session, so we could have a lot of volume in here. So we'll just keep an eye out on this one. All right. Cool, pushing down now. This could be good. Look, it's going towards that area. So ideally, if we can get a break and close below this zone, we can look for a potential move further lower. Let's have a look at the 15-minute again. Um, looks good. Okay, we got to close. Let's have a look. Not quite yet 30-minute close, so I'd rather wait for that to happen. Ooh, sorry, a bit tired. It's quite late here already, 9 p.m. We'll see if we can get a break. If we can get a break and then a retest, I'll be good to go for a trade. Hmm. This could be quite interesting. So we'll keep an eye out on this as well. If we get a close above, could be good up here. I could look for a potential trade to go up as well. Stop loss would be a bit big, so I'm not a big fan. Have a look. Yeah, this 15-minute just looks too messy. Could look good, but I think if we get a close above this area, we'll probably continue upwards, which does then contradict GBP/USD, but we'll see. MHUJ must be moving quite a bit. Yeah. So we're pushing out. Just want to go get some chocolate. Okay, this is exactly what we want. We want this market to, like I said, we want it to close below here now. Now this is ideal. And then hopefully we can get a continuation. The only issue is where we're going to retest. Okay, so we got about 3 minutes for this candle to close. So I don't know if it's going to close below this area. We'll just have to see. Everything's starting to approach those zones now, which is good. So that means hopefully in the next hour or so we can potentially look for moves below them, which will be ideal. GJ is still stuck in the middle. To you, this wick is making it more and more unfavorable. So let's see what happens this next minute. UJ, yeah, we'll just forget about UJ for now. Gold pulling back again. So it moves us away from that potential area to break. USD CAD. It's not a bad move from USD CAD. But again, it doesn't really give you that option to get into the market. It kind of went below consolidation. And then, got stuck in there and just decided to break out. Did go to a nice level though. Yes, yes. It's rejecting that quite strong. 12 seconds. Yeah. I mean, we could look at a trade, but I'm not really a big fan of that wick. I'm really not a big fan of that wick. So I reckon this is going to close as a doji. Yeah. Mm. Yes, yeah, I mean, there's absolutely no indication that where this market wants to go to. If chances are it's giving us more options to go to the upside, nothing really to go to the downside. I mean, what we could look for is, I won't trade it, probably won't trade it, is we could look for a candle that pushes up, with its wick coming all the way up here, and then we'll look for a move that kind of continues down. So that could be an option. But I don't know if we'll get that. Obviously, I don't know what's happening. Well, we rejected the support, so we are pushing up, which means we're probably consolidating here. But there's no indication that this market wants to continue down at this stage. This is nice. See, we do get a bit of retest, so we could potentially push. Uh, we could probably push down now with this retest. This is a retest we are sort of looking for. Cool. So it looks like it ended up dropping after all. Now, hopefully, what we can see is if we can get this candle to close. I'm always going to wait for that close. We can see, it hasn't even reached to completely fill its wick. It's done. Um, so I'm always, you could have probably entered, put your stop loss up here somewhere. But now, it's like, where are you pushing to? Because, you've got to push this resistance and you hope that it breaks it. Um, so looking at this 5 minute, if we can get this candle to close above, then we could look for potential moves to go further down. But obviously, I want to see this happen. I want to see this candle close on higher term time frames. I want to see, a 15-minute close or a 30-minute close before I look for any moves. Yeah, see, so it's really struggling to push past this now. And this is why I always wait for candle confirmation. Really, really struggling. Let's have a look. Let's flick through other pairs. I mean, I don't think we'll see much. Obviously gold still stuck in consolidation. USD JPY looking nice. Looking quite nice, actually. Let's see. Let's have a look and see where this is heading to. Let's see where we are pushing to. Pushing into nothingness. Let's have a look at the daily. There we go. Wow. So we really went past traffic. We are coming to a resistance now. Previous open and close, a daily open and close area. So we could see some potential rejection up on this area. And then a break above this would be very, very ideal. This is quite a nice setup, actually. We could maybe look for a potential entry in here. To look at our lower total time frame. This candle closes in 20 minutes, and it hasn't really done much in 20 minutes. So it could be like that situation where we see nothing, and then it starts moving. So it either starts moving in two directions, up or down. So we always want that steady growth. So we've been quite a while into this session, into this opening. You see 4 minutes in here. It's struggling at this resistance. Really, you wanted to enter back down here. So if you were looking to trade this 30-minute candle, you were looking for it to. This was a pretty good entry, but obviously we didn't. You need to look at your high term time frames to see what it's running into. This over here was really your entry. So when we had this kind of bottom and top, we had the break and a nice retest. We had the close above, and that was your entry. Entry there, stop loss below here for a nice push to the upside. And obviously we could have looked for that resistance up over there. So entry, stop loss just below, and target at that zone. Not yet reached, but it's a nice little risk reward. Nice debt trading. So we'll put it up there because it's being a bit of a shit. And down here. So 3-to-1 risk reward. That's been a really nice trade if you did take it. But yeah, so it's pretty much on that break and retest. Break, resistance, broken it, retest on support, candle close above this previous resistance over here, entry, stop loss below the previous 30 minutes, and boom. So this would have been a nice trade. Very nice trade. Let's have a look. Well, let's go back to our pound. So still stuck. GBP, JPY. I mean, it's really rejecting the support. It looks quite nice. So if we clear everything on this chart, I'll clear everything on here so I can sort of reanalyze it. Well, so we can see it. We're starting to create sort of this support right over here. This zone we're sort of getting stuck in, and we're getting these little higher lows, which is quite interesting. You're seeing it's like this, not a lot, but we're seeing like this sort of movement. So we're seeing this sort of upwards movement in the market. So it's like constantly creating that. We are also seeing this bit of a downward movement as well. So it could create a bit of a squeeze and then pop. Hopefully we can pop to the upside looking at the higher term time frames. It's 30 minutes. So yeah, 30 minutes, I mean, it's rejecting these wicks are rejecting big wicks to the downside. So hopefully what we want to get is we want to get a candle that gives us a close above, above the zone. When we get that, then because now the way this is forming, I would look for a way to push into it. And we see it constantly, like we see a smaller higher lows, and we see a break above, close candle above, and then push up. So when we see this sort of rejection wicks, like we see here, we can always look for the market to start going in that direction. So let's see what we can get, if we can get anything out of this. There you go, starting to look good. Cool. There we go. There's the push that we're looking for now. Let's hope we can get it close above the zone. See if we can. So if we get flick through the other ones. Gold reaching that support again. USD JPY probably pushing and pushing higher. 10 minutes into it. USD CAD reaching that resistance as well. Everything reaching some pretty good key levels right now. This one even started to go below here, so it's it's playing out as well. But now I've kind of got my eyes on this GBP JPY. I'll think about it as well. But GBP JPY or GBP USD, obviously it's nothing to do with the pound, because if we look at USD JPY is going up, GBP JPY is going up, and then USD CAD is going up, and then GBUSD is going down. So obviously it's between the dollar and the yen where we're seeing different changes, and the pound isn't really changing that much, which is interesting during this during UK session. Um, so let's have a look and see what happens. There goes the break. Hope we can get it close. Okay, looks like this is going to be the one. Okay, let's have a look. Wait and see now. Yeah, I'm liking this. If we can get close here and get a wick to touch back in here, push lower, we should be good to go. But now we need to keep in mind it's the hourly close as well. So we need to have a look and see what this hourly. This next candle could be a potential. If we can pull back a little bit here before we continue to blast down, we could get a nice deep wick into this and then push further down. So let's hope this market just doesn't continue dropping. So look on that. We said the daily was more of this. So yeah, so see we could see this support being reached easily. All right, so we've closed now. Now let's have a look at this next candle. Now, what I said, the next candle we want to see is we want to see it push up and then push below. Now we're 1 minute into this candle, so let's hope it doesn't run away and we can get a re-entry. Looking at the 15-minute time frame as well, we want to see a push into it. It's a bit too big to put my stop loss down there, so I want to see something a bit more meaningful. This is nice as well, actually, but the stop loss will be pretty large. So yes, I see. So no wick at the top. Now we're starting to reject to the downside. This means we could probably get a wick on the 15-minute time frame. And hopefully we can then start to see a move back to the upside if we can get this retest. Yeah, I quite like this. So if we do get a break below, I might actually look to take a trade. Break below this area. We'll just have to see what happens. So if we do get a break, this is kind of what I'm looking for. And then obviously stop loss, I'll have it pretty tight because if it does turn red, I don't want to be in this trade anymore. If it goes lower than that wick, don't want to be in there, and then obviously stop, take profit will be over here. So nice, like about a 1-to-1. Nothing major, but that's kind of the trade I want to look for. So the issue is with this pullback, the higher it pulls back, the higher our stop loss will have to be. So if it gets too big, then I won't be bothered taking the trade. So in this pullback, it's reached into this wick now. Let's have a look on the 5 minutes. We can see, so we started to touch base on this resistance. We haven't quite broken this low, this previous candle over here, this wick over here. So it's a good sign, but it looks like this market kind of will reject this and look to push higher. If this next candle, we kind of want this next candle. We don't want this candle over here to break this low, right? To break this high, sorry, to break this wick over here. That means that we'll need to look for the moves. But we're currently sitting at that support now that we have on the daily time frame. Well, resistance, sorry. And then if we do get a break below, we could look for this market to continue to the downside. Okay, cool. So we're starting to see some interesting movement now. I would like to start looking at taking a trade of this. But like I said, I want to see this move go below this first. I think I'll take a small trade here now. I'll enter it and take profit down here. So let's see how this goes. Stop loss just above that wick, so it's the 15-minute time frame, and we'll see how it goes. Very small trade. Stop loss is fairly tight, so let's see if we can get it pushed down. So that's kind of what we wanted. So we see that close above that support below that support, and hopefully we can now see this to continue to drop further lower. Let's have a look at this. We'll have a look at the 30-minute as well. We'll see what that looks like. Nice wick to the downside, nice liquidity wick. So hopefully we can keep pushing. And target again. Cool. I might actually do a runner on this if this doesn't wick back all the way up, because it looks like it could potentially come. Obviously, it's a much longer time frame, but it could potentially come down to here. But I will definitely take most of my position at this target. So if it reaches the target, I'll take most of my position. I'll take out perhaps close out three quarters of it, and then I'll let the rest run and see if we can reach that area. But it's pushing quite nicely now. 30 minutes. This 5 minute looked really nice actually. Let's see that. Beautiful close above. It's actually quite a nice entry. Okay, what I'll do now, I'll put my stop loss into break even, and kind of let the rest run. It is a Friday, so I'm not fussed about it. If I get stopped out at break even, that's fine. But I'll do that, and then we've got a safe trade to play with now. Yeah, so look, that's pulling back quite strong as soon as I put my stop loss there. So hopefully it won't stop me out and keep going. It's quite a shame that it pulled back that quickly. So we have to be so careful with managing risk. Okay, pretty close to mine. I think this might actually be wrong, this one. Yeah, it's a bit early. Yeah, that's so that's kind of where I'm sitting. So you can see it's pretty close to my stop loss. Let's see. If it takes out this low, this candle over here, we'll probably get stopped out. Yep, there we go. All right, so stopped at a break even. Small, very, very small little profit. But again, it's Friday, so I'm not really fast. I had a good week. We'll definitely, yesterday was this morning was my first live stream, so we'll do them more regularly, and we'll hopefully we'll obviously get better markets, and as we keep going with it, we'll get better at it, and obviously we'll watch the market more intensely. Eventually, I think we'll focus just on one pair, like this thing's going to rip up and pull down. And we'll kind of get used to it. So I think we'll eventually remove most of these and just focus on, I would say probably GBP USD, because that's been the pair that I've been majorly trading during the UK session. And then obviously during our Asian session, trading pairs like CAD JPY, which have been quite popular, US 30, but mostly CAD JPY. So eventually we'll narrow them down once we find the pairs that make us the most money, and then we'll move on from there. But anyways, guys, if you do end up watching this video from like after the recording, definitely give us a like. Give us a subscribe, guys. It will help a lot, and we'll continue on this every every Asia session, every UK session, we'll start doing these. So give us a like, subscribe, hit that bell icon as well if you want to join us and get notifications. I am coming up with some new things, so there's a lot coming out, and hopefully we'll get this thing growing. Well, thanks so much for watching, guys. Have a great weekend. Trade safe. NFP is on its way, so if you're going to trade the US session, make sure you stay safe doing that. All right, guys. Also, for US session, definitely go check out Wix Don't Lie. He's a really good guy, good trader, he's pretty much the original. He started all these live streams, so definitely go check him out. Wix Don't Lie is his YouTube, his Instagram, and everything. So great guy. Go check him out. Give him a follow, give him a like, and tell him who sent you. So yeah, definitely, guys. Take care. Trade safe.